listening to Frequency 404. Tonight, we bear witness to a turning point in Canadian history. The very first Purge. It's February 28th, 2026. The snow hasn't stopped falling all week, blanketing the streets of Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver in white silence. But tonight, it feels heavier. For the first time in Canada's history, the government has declared a purge, 12 hours where all crime, including murder, is legal. A national experiment, they called it, a solution to rising anger, inequality, and violence. Many still can't believe it's real. Yet here we are, counting down the final minutes before midnight. No one knows what to expect. In Ottawa, Parliament is sealed tight. Politicians who passed this law have already vanished into secure bunkers, leaving the rest of the country to fend for itself. Toronto is tense. The financial district stands dark, high-rise condos boarded up from inside. Families in the suburbs have barricaded doors, sealed windows, and prayed this night will pass quietly. Police cars sit abandoned in their stations. Hospitals lock their doors. And still, no one knows what will happen. On social media, hashtags trend. #Stay Safe Canada, #First Purge. Live streams show empty streets, nervous faces, people clutching baseball bats and hunting rifles. Grocery stores have been stripped bare. Gas stations long out of fuel. But there's another side too. Not everyone is afraid. Across the country, people who feel ignored, betrayed, or broken by the system say tonight is their chance to strike back. In the back alleys of Montreal, men and women in masks whisper and laugh, carrying weapons they've hidden all their lives. In Vancouver, the downtown east side simmers with desperation. And in the vast north, old rivalries between families and neighbors come to the surface after decades of quiet. The government promised this would bring balance, that society would heal itself after just one night of darkness. But no one knows if that's true. Not yet. As midnight nears, a government voice crackles over every radio, every screen. Citizens of Canada. The purge will commence in 5 minutes. All emergency services are hereby suspended. May God be with you all. The sirens begin to wail, long, low notes that ripple across the frozen land. In homes, families clutch each other tight. In alleyways, groups stand ready to move. In the snow, in the silence, everyone waits. And then, nothing. The clock strikes midnight. And across Canada, a breath is held, hearts pound, and the first screams shatter the night. Midnight has come and gone. The sirens have faded, replaced by screams, gunfire, and the crackle of fire echoing across quiet streets. And already, the country has split into two. On one side stand those who take to the streets, the hunters. They come from all walks of life. In downtown Toronto, young men in hockey masks patrol Yonge Street in pickup trucks, shouting and firing into shop windows. Many have waited months for this. Men and women who felt powerless now claim the night as theirs. Some wear military surplus and carry rifles bought legally long ago, convinced they're cleansing society of its worst. In Montreal, gangs have turned entire neighborhoods into their hunting grounds, tagging walls with blood-red graffiti and barricading streets to keep out rivals. Even in quiet small towns on the prairies, vigilantes roam from farm to farm, settling feuds no court ever touched. Some say it's justice, others say it's madness. But tonight, they are the ones writing the rules. And then, on the other side, are those who refuse, the survivors. In Mississauga and Brampton, families crowd into basements, hiding behind couches and mattresses, whispering prayers. In Montreal, old port residents huddle in shuttered stone buildings, candles flickering in the dark. Vancouver's West End has become a maze of barricaded apartments, neighbors working together to block stairwells and share supplies. Not all of them believe in the Purge. Some say it's barbaric, against everything Canada is supposed to stand for. Others simply can't bring themselves to kill, even now. And then there are those caught in between. The delivery driver in Edmonton who couldn't get home in time and now hides under his truck, hoping to go unnoticed. The teenager in Quebec City who left to join his friends but froze on the first corner, unable to swing the bat in his hand. The elderly woman in Saskatoon who opened her door to strangers, not knowing if they would protect her or turn on her. Across Canada, the lines have been drawn, but even now, they shift. Some who hid are lured out by anger. Some hunters stop in horror at what they've done. And some discover parts of themselves they never thought existed. It has only been 60 minutes since the siren stopped, and already, the streets of Canada look nothing like the country they once were. At 12:01, the first shots rang out on Yonge Street in Toronto. A convenience store owner was dragged into the snow by masked men who smashed through his window before he even had time to lock the door. Minutes later, flames rose from an abandoned car downtown, the fire lighting up the silent towers like a warning. In Montreal, two rival crews collided almost instantly. The Saint-Henri district erupted in gunfire as young men in balaclavas stormed a row of cafes, spraying bullets into the dark. Elsewhere in the city, Old Port burned. Molotov cocktails lit up the cobblestones while looters swarmed high-end boutiques, shattering glass and carrying what they could before vanishing back into the alleys. Vancouver was quicker still. Within the first 5 minutes, the downtown east side was chaos. Fires, screams, and clashes between desperate groups fighting over a single shelter that hadn't locked its doors in time. In the West End, a high-rise was overrun by a masked gang who kicked in door after door, dragging residents out into the hallway and marking their apartments with red paint. And outside the cities, the first hour was even colder. On the prairies, barns burned, their owners chased into the night by neighbors who had waited years for this moment. In the north, snowmobiles streaked across the tundra in the dark, two families settling a grudge that no police had ever managed to solve. Even in quiet suburbs, fathers stood at windows clutching baseball bats as intruders circled their homes, testing locks and peering through cracks. For many, the first hour was confusion, panic. People caught outside ran for any door that would open. A jogger in Calgary was found dead in the park, her headphones still playing. A teenager in Quebec City was shot through the window of his room while filming a live stream. and dozens of others were caught in crossfire they never saw coming. By the end of the hour, fires burned across half a dozen cities. Hospitals stood silent. Emergency calls went unanswered. Neighbors turned on neighbors. Strangers struck without warning, and the air was already heavy with smoke. Dawn breaks quietly, as if nothing happened. The snow falls lighter now, covering streets, buildings, and memories alike. Canada wakes to a silence deeper than before, but not the same kind of silence. At exactly noon, the sirens signaled the end of the purge. Across the country, those who took part dropped their weapons and disappeared into the shadows, leaving behind the aftermath. Neighbors opened doors cautiously, stepping into streets littered with shattered glass, spent shells, and reminders of the night's chaos. Preliminary estimates from authorities report that over 150 lives were lost nationwide, with hundreds more impacted by injuries of varying severity. Property damage is staggering, with over 1,200 buildings affected across urban and rural areas, many severely damaged or destroyed. Tens of thousands of Canadians were displaced from their homes, seeking refuge in emergency shelters and with relatives. The wave of crime extended beyond violence. Authorities confirmed that at least 2 major banks were breached during the night, with losses estimated to exceed $1 million. Additionally, thousands of thefts and burglaries were reported nationwide, with stores, homes, and vehicles targeted amid the chaos. But numbers alone cannot capture the deeper wounds. Broken families, fractured communities, and a country forever changed. On official broadcasts, the government calls the first purge a success, citing reductions in crime and a renewed order. But for those who lived through it, it feels like something fragile has been shattered. Families avert their eyes from one another. Neighbors no longer exchange greetings. Children hesitate to play outside. There is a new coldness in the air, one the snow cannot conceal. And yet, everyone knows this was only the beginning. The first purge has come and gone, but the echoes of outrage remain loud and clear, both within Canada and across the globe. Inside the country, citizens from all walks of life question the wisdom of allowing 12 hours of lawlessness. For many Canadians, this experiment feels like a step backward, a dark rewind to a time when chaos ruled unchecked, before justice and order prevailed. Across social media platforms, hashtags like #NoPurgeCanada and #StopTheChaos trend relentlessly. Families share stories of loss and fear. Doctors describe the overwhelming pressure on emergency rooms, and community leaders condemn the violence as a betrayal of Canadian values. Political opponents and human rights groups have called for immediate repeal. warning that the purge only deepens divisions and sows long-lasting trauma. "It makes no sense," says one activist. "We're supposed to be a civilized nation. This feels like we're rewinding history, not moving forward." International reactions have been no less severe. Allies and critics alike express shock and disbelief. Editorials from major newspapers around the world describe Canada's decision as reckless and inhumane, raising questions about the nation's future on the global stage. Some experts warn that the purge sets a dangerous precedent, one that could inspire similar policies elsewhere, threatening to unravel decades of progress in law, order, and human rights. Amid the criticism, government officials defend the decision, insisting it's necessary to reset the social balance and reduce crime in the long term. Yet, the public's faith is shaken, and the scars of the first night will not heal easily. For many Canadians, the purge feels less like a solution and more like a descent into uncertainty, a night that should never have been allowed. In the wake of the first purge, the country is shaken to its core. The public outcry, both loud and widespread, has forced the government to reconsider the future of this controversial experiment. Parliament has announced that a nationwide referendum will be held in the coming months, a direct vote by Canadian citizens on whether the purge should become an annual event or be permanently abolished. The debate is fierce. Supporters argue that despite the costs, the purge offers a way to reset society, release built-up tensions, and ultimately reduce crime. They point to official statements citing initial decreases in crime rates and promise reforms to better manage the process if it continues. Opponents counter that the purge has torn the social fabric apart, leaving deep scars and fear that will take generations to heal. They emphasize the human cost, the lost lives, the trauma, the destruction, arguing that no measure of order justifies such chaos. Communities across the country are mobilizing. Town halls and online forums buzz with discussions. Protests erupt in some cities, while in others, cautious optimism lingers. Media outlets cover the issue non-stop, airing stories from survivors, experts, and political leaders. International observers watch closely, recognizing that Canada's decision could signal a global shift in how societies handle crime and justice. For many Canadians, the upcoming vote feels like more than a political decision. It's a moment to decide what kind of country they want to be. Will they choose a path of controlled chaos, hoping for a better tomorrow? Or will they reject the purge and strive for peace through other means? The future hangs in the balance. The first purge in Canada left more than just shattered glass and burned buildings. It tore at the fabric of communities, leaving deep wounds that won't heal quickly. In towns and cities alike, people face the slow and difficult process of rebuilding. Not just structures, but trust, safety, and hope. Neighborhood watch groups have formed, fueled by a shared determination to protect what remains. Volunteers gather to clear debris, repair homes, and support those displaced. But the scars run deeper than visible damage. Survivors speak quietly of fear that refuses to fade, of nights haunted by memories, and of a country that feels less familiar. Mental health services are overwhelmed as counselors and therapists struggle to meet the rising demand. Families grieve quietly, some never fully recovering from the loss of loved ones. Parents wrestle with how to explain the night's horrors to children, while schools try to offer safe spaces amid lingering anxiety. Yet amidst the darkness, flickers of resilience appear. Community centers organize events to bring people together, to remind them of shared strength and solidarity. Stories emerge of neighbors helping neighbors, of strangers risking their safety to protect others. National leaders have pledged support for recovery efforts, but many say true healing will require more than aid. It will demand a reckoning with what allowed this night to happen in the first place. Canada stands at a crossroads, forced to confront the cost of the purge, and to ask whether the path forward lies in division or unity. The night of the purge has passed. Communities are rebuilding. Laws may change, but the shadows remain. Canada wakes to a world forever altered, where the line between order and chaos blurred for one long night. Some call it a necessary reset. Others see a fracture that may never mend. There is no clear answer. Will the purge become a ritual etched into the nation's fabric, or a dark chapter soon closed? Will people learn to live with the fear it brought, or find ways to heal beyond it? Across the country, faces show weariness and resolve. Children ask questions their parents struggle to answer. Streets once vibrant now hold echoes of silence and memories too heavy to forget. The future is unwritten, and in that uncertainty lies both fear and possibility. The chance for change, for reckoning, for something new.